you're probably killing your most valuable Facebook ad in your campaign and you don't even know it. And we see this every single week. Your new campaign goes live and 80% of the ad spend goes into one of the ads, while the others that don't get spent have 3 times better results. And the instinct in this situation is to pause the one that's underperforming and scale the winners. Then once you do that, the mare drops within a week. That's why today we are going to cover 3 things. Today we are going to cover 3 things about how Meta actually runs your ads in 2026. One creative usually eats the budget, and the one rule that we use across 50 DTC brands to make sure that we don't pause the wrong ad. Alright, so the first thing we are going to cover today is about Andromeda, and you probably heard about it. It's a Meta update from 2024 that has changed completely the game when it comes to Meta ads. And essentially what Andromeda is, it's a new ranking model that ranks ads in a different way. It shows ads in a different way, and it benefits a lot by creative diversity and having multiple ad concepts. And in today's video, what's important to know is that the way it worked back then, it was much easier. You would have your top of the funnel ads, you would have your middle of the funnel ads, and you have your bottom of the funnel ads, and usually you have these in the separate campaigns. So when you launch new ads, you just put them in one of these campaigns or ad sets, and depending on what the results are, you can just pause the one that are underperforming and increase the budget on the one that are performing. However, this has changed since Andromeda has dropped, and that's why we're going to look at it now. And what's important to know when it comes to Andromeda is that one campaign right now runs as a funnel. And that's why most people either suggest you using something like a CBO campaign, where you have all your ads under one campaign with the whole budget and you just scale that campaign, or something like Advantage Plus, where you have just one campaign, one ad set, and you add all your ads within that one campaign. So it was very easy. For example, you have like this one ad set not working at all, none of the ads are working good, so you just like pause it. Or you see that this one ad is picking up and these 2 are not, so you pause these 2 and you just like scale this one, then you can take it and you can put it in a scaling campaign. Pretty easy, right? Now it's a bit different. The difference is that right now what you have is a CBO, and while we have like everything here under a different, like under one campaign, Meta choose what to prioritize, where to spend the money, how to allocate the budget, and so on. And that's why I'm saying right now, since after Andromeda dropped, one campaign is more like a funnel. And what does that mean? The algorithm knows now when one ad is for top of the funnel, when it's prospecting, it knows when it's for middle of the funnel, it knows when it's for bottom of the funnel. So when someone sees an ad, they are either falling in one of these 3 categories. So if it's someone who has perhaps seen a competitor ad and they're just like price comparing, they may see an ad from you that's bottom of the funnel. If there's someone who are somewhat aware, maybe they have visited your website, but they're not quite ready to buy, they just need a bit more trust, they have some objections that you need to handle, they'll fall in this category. And if it's someone who is completely unaware, they don't even know they have that problem, need a bit more education, they may fall in this category. So depending on where customer is in one of these 3 categories, they will see different type of ad. You don't have to separate them as it was in the past. Now Meta has this thing called sequencing. You essentially put all your ads in one campaign, and depending on where that person is on the ladder, they'll see different type of ad. So for example, here top of the funnel ads, someone first see your ad, they'll be introduced to the brand through something maybe like a VSL ad, maybe they'll see something top of the funnel, they'll go to advertorial and they'll not purchase. Then the next step is they need a bit more trust, they need a bit more perhaps social proof, they need to understand better the product. So Meta then will show them an ad that is retargeting ad to build interest, to handle some of the objections that they might have. Once they do that, then they'll be served an ad that's for bottom of the funnel, which could be an urgency, could be a social proof, could be a special offer with a discount after a few days. And that's essentially the whole sequencing thing. This is how the whole sequencing works. And now I'll explain you why this is important when you run ads and one of your ads is getting 80% of that spend, or maybe less, maybe more. But usually if you've been running ads, you know, like the algorithm prefers one ad, and our case majority of the budget there. So right now what you can see on the screen is a bit more detailed view of what I explained here. So this is what you see in the ads manager. You have your creative A, you have your creative B, you have your creative C, and for the sake of this video, these are all different concepts. The creative A is that is getting the majority of that spend. It is 80% of that spend. Then you have creative B and creative C. These are getting like much better results, but for some reason they are they're getting like much less of that spend. The instinct in this case is, okay, let's just like kill these ads, and then we have an average of 3.5 ROAS or whatever this is. And you just like scale, right? The budget remains the same. Instead of spending $1,000 where we have 1.2 ROAS, we spend this $1,000 on ads that are getting 3.5 ROAS, and everything would be good. But that's not exactly how it works. It's usually, this type of ad looks bad because it's not closing the deal. This type of ad is an ad that's prospecting. It brings new customers in your funnel on your website, but usually these are people that are not necessarily ready to buy yet. And honestly, it's one of the most important ads in your campaign because it feeds the whole funnel. And when you go ahead and do the natural thing of pausing this ad, you're essentially incapacitating your whole campaign. Your MER and your overall results will suffer. That's why what we see very often is once we pause this type of ad, what you see is like, let's say you have an average ROAS of 2.5 when you take all the spend across this campaign, and you pause it. After a few days, the results overall drop, and you have to launch a new campaign. You have to think of new ads, and just the whole thing doesn't work. And the reason simply doesn't work is because now there is no ad that is helping to bring you new customers. There is ads that are only helping you close the customers that have been already on the. And here I want to show you an example of that. Here is one campaign, and as you can see, this is for last 30 days. Here we have like 4.5k ad spend, and yeah, I mean, you can see here that you have here 4k spent, and it's 1.75. Now we have here a bit less. Here we have much better ROAS, but we don't have ad spend. And if you're in this situation, we might think we want to pause these ads, just like this one up and running, because it's having like a much better result. And in this situation, what will happen is you essentially will kill your campaign. Okay, so now let's talk about what you should do and how you can optimize your campaigns if you're in a situation where you spend most of your ad spend on one of the ads, and what are the possible solutions for that. The first thing you need to know is that sometimes you may want to actually pause the ads that are underperforming in the ad set. And the second thing is, I'll explain to you how to make a decision if to pause something or if you to keep it running, and so on. So here is an example. This is a whole campaign. Here is the ad sets under this campaign, and this is taken from Tripleware. It's not from Ads Manager. And in Tripleware, the cool thing is that you can see what amount of the visitors are new visitors, and as well what amount of the visitors are people that have interacted with you before. Meta also has an option where you can see that to an extent, and that is when you make a breakdown on your campaign based on like new visitors or engaged audiences, and that's something that you have to do prior to that in the ad settings. But for now, let's focus on what we have here on the screen. And the new visitors percentage is here on the right side. So for this campaign, the total of the new visitors is 56% of the total visitors. And here below we can see which ad sets, what amount of new customers they bring in. So the one that has the most of that spend has 60% new visitors. Then you have here, which is a bit better ROAS. This is 48% new visitors, and as you can see, they're like slowly declining. And the reason for that is because this one here is an audience. It's an ad set that has ads that are focused on bringing in new customers. It's top of the funnel ads. while the remaining ones are somewhere middle of the funnel or bottom of the funnel. And as you can see right here, we have an ad that has 2 ROAS, and it has like a very high frequency. Here is the percentage of new visitors. So this is essentially a completely retargeting ad. It has like a very, very good ROAS. So in this situation, like if you have an ad that has very poor ROAS, and your overall campaign or your overall ad set is underperforming, then what you want to do is you want to pause the whole thing. So if it's an ad set, it's underperforming, you might want to pause the whole thing. If you have something like an ASC campaign where you put all your ads in one place, yeah, then just feel free to replace that. You don't want to kill your whole campaign. But if it's something as it is right now here, it's a CBO campaign, so we add the new batches of ads in an ad set in that campaign. What we want to do is to pause the whole batch, the whole ad set, because we have others that will carry the load of that spend. With that being said, just to summarize what we said so far, if the ad set is bringing a lot of new customers or a lot of new visitors, and it's still like having like a decent ROAS, you can keep it running, and you just keep it running as it is. You don't want to go inside really and go and pause an ads that are bringing these new customers. If the ads are having poor ROAS but they're not bringing new customers, it's just retargeting ads, then you can feel free to pause them. When you make a decision, you want to make it based on the results of the whole campaign or whole ad set. And again, that depends on what amount of the traffic is new visitors, what amount of traffic is retargeting. And the reason we want to do that is because we make a decision based on the result for the whole ad set or the whole campaign. And optimization, we make decision based on if either it is retargeting or it is prospecting. I hope that was clear enough. If you have any questions, make sure to put them down in the video. I'll answer all of them. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Meta is allocating 80% of the budget in one of the ads simply because it's a prospecting ad. It has the biggest reach. It resonates with most people. These usually have a bit lower ROAS because they bring in the new customers, while the other ads that are in your funnel are converting these people. And that's pretty much it.